Will adding another degree or getting a technical certification in the latest technology trend help you make more in your current company? Perhaps, yes. But will it take your career to the next level? Definitely not. The evidence is very clear. Stay tuned and I will give you the scoop. Hi, my name is Shawn Sommerkamp and this is Motivationeer Christian Coaching. Most career professionals want to advance their career so that they can make more money for lots of different reasons. Christian professionals tend to at least believe that they want to make more money so they can help a lot more people. Now, before I continue with this topic, I did a video on earning to give and the deceitfulness of wealth that I do highly recommend. I go into a deep dive about how this is a very slippery slope, and it's based on this idea of effective altruism, which is an atheistic movement. So please go watch that video. But I do get this question a lot from people. Should I go get another degree to make more money? Should I get this specific technical certification so that I could advance and progress in my company? And it's usually a common refrain. I know if I increase my skill set in this niche, I'm going to become more valuable to my company, and in turn, I'll be able to command a higher salary. Well, that might be true for the short run, but it's not very strategic thinking. In fact, it's tactical. It's a short-term fix to a long-term opportunity. And if you've watched one of my other videos, Future You, I discussed this very common phrase. I talk about it in a lot of videos, actually. Never sacrifice long-term growth for short-term gain, which is what we do when we focus on a tactical career approach. Tactical thinkers are like foot soldiers on a battlefield. They have a very narrowly defined skill set, and they're using it on the front lines. And while no one is ever expendable, of course, usually the people on the front lines, sadly, are more replaceable than others because lots of people can be trained what they do. We have witnessed this cycle many times in the marketplace over the years. It goes like this. A skills gap happens when the demand for certain skills in the job market ultimately exceed the supply of workers who have that specific skill. Because of things like a technology boom, some net new technology hits the scene and really starts taking off. Maybe an unexpected industry boom or some type of global economic trend. Then the demand for those skills explodes in the market. Salaries will shortly follow by skyrocketing, so lots of people want to get into it. Colleges see this opportunity to make some money, and tech schools in some cases, so they create entire curriculum and degree programs around that very specific skill set. And the next thing you know, they flood the market with people that have this knowledge to fulfill this skills gap. And we suddenly have an oversupply of skilled workers. And what does that do to wages? Drives them down. This has happened many times. I'm sure the examples I'm about to give are very familiar to you over the last 3 decades. Late 80s, paralegals. They were in very high demand and were getting paid upwards toward $60,000 a year, which that's adjusted for inflation in today's money. Colleges noticed this, jumped into that market, and by the late 1990s, just 10 years, so many paralegals flooded the marketplace that their wages got depressed to a maximum of about $45,000. That's $15,000 off because of what colleges pumping more paralegals into the marketplace. In the early 90s, it was graphic designers. They used to make $70,000 a year until colleges started pumping them out left and right. Then by the 2000s, all the way up until now, they make maybe $50,000 a year? In the late 90s, journalists, because there were demand for content creators, reporters, media professionals, especially because of all the new online news agencies and outlets. They were making in the high 70s, mid to high 70s back then. Colleges started pumping out. They created these communications majors almost overnight, it seems. Everywhere, all colleges had these communications degrees, and the next thing you know, within 5 to 10 years, their salaries, they could really only make about 45 to 50. In the 2000s, same thing happened with nurses. Think about the closest college to you. It probably has a nursing degree program. Now nurses, back then, I used to work with a lot of nurses. They were commanding $50 an hour. Many of the ones I was working with, now it's maybe 70 or 80. This happened with PC repair techs, digital marketing specialists, network admins, even software engineers. And now you're starting to see AI is being trained in colleges. It is not a fad, but it's a very predictable trend. It's tactical to do that. What we want to do is to think strategically about our career. Using the war metaphor again, let's look at it from a strategic perspective. Strategists are like the generals on the battlefield. They don't go to the front line and shoot the guns. They plan on how to win the war overall. They're managing all those foot soldiers, thinking long term, being more strategic about what they do with all their resources. Strategic thinkers today future-proof their careers by focusing on timeless skills, by focusing on adaptability, by focusing on positioning rather than just chasing the latest tech trend. They focus on skills that transcend industry changes. For example, critical thinking and problem solving. That's an amazing skill to have that not a lot of individual contributors really pursue. Leadership and influence. Persuasion and negotiation, adaptability, and learning agility. They also build industry-independent knowledge. For example, finance and business strategy. What a fantastic skill to learn that will never ever get old. Human behavior and psychology. Systems thinking. As you can see, probably with just the two comparisons, the difference is very critical. On the one hand, the tactician is on an earnings roller coaster and having to continue for years and years, their whole career, trying to stay up to speed with the latest technology. Sometimes they fall behind. And yes, every 5 to 10 years, their salary gets very depressed because of the marketplace flooding, because of this college boom. On the other hand, you have the strategists. They command a significantly higher salary because their skills are directly tied to the overall company growth, company direction, company acceleration. Way more valuable to the owners of those companies, whether small, medium, or large. This illustrates what's known in the world of economics as the immutable law of labor. I'm going to really oversimplify it. You can look this up on your own, but it basically says if a lot of people can do the job, a lot of people are willing to do the job, it's not going to pay very much. That's just the way it is. A lot of people don't want to be in leadership roles, and that's what strategic thinkers do. When someone pursues a certification or an advanced degree, they're stepping into an opportunity that is available to many, 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 many people. That's why colleges start pumping them out and really capitalize on this from a financial perspective. But this doesn't ultimately differentiate us. It just doesn't. Instead of focusing solely on becoming a highly skilled individual contributor, think about how to learn how to rally company-wide resources, how to make an industry-wide impact, how to increase revenue for your company, strategically decreasing the costs for your company, improving processes on a departmental scale, cross-departmental scale, scaling the business for rapid growth. This is what business leaders think about. When leaders in your company today see that you're thinking this way, they are going to listen to you longer. They're going to pay attention more, and they're going to want to promote you. Why? Because very few people ever think from this perspective. And take it from me, I've had lots of people reporting to me, it's very difficult to train that strategic thinking mindset into someone who's always focused on the narrow tactical work. There are biblical examples of this that I'm not stretching these, and they don't exactly fit into a corporate setting, but they are very strategic, and I want to share them with you. For example, remember Moses being overwhelmed by all the people coming to him? Jethro could have stepped up and said, hey, Moses, I'll take that seat some of the day, and it would have removed some of the load from Moses, but ultimately, at best, it would have divided the work in half. That's not what he came up with. He gave Moses the idea of him focusing on a handful, those focusing on a handful, those focusing on a handful, and then that little group of people meeting all the needs of the Israelites. So instead of splitting it by half, he divided it sevenfold, a dozenfold, 1,000-fold. Jesus was thinking strategically when he trained the 12 disciples, not just to spread the gospel themselves, although they did, but to train others to do the same. We see Paul doing this a lot. He didn't just go out and teach one person at a time. Jesus multiplied the workforce. Paul himself was thinking strategically when he chose as his places to go spread the gospel large Mediterranean cities. By doing that, he was reaching a much larger population that could spread much bigger and then go throughout the world. A lot of shipping ports, of course. There are many, many other examples in the Bible of strategic versus tactical thinking. As we shift to a strategic mindset, we'll make a far greater impact in the company that we're in. We're going to recession-proof our career. We're going to future-proof our growth aspirations. I know there are people who have become very good at doing that 10-year technology window. They learn a new technology, put a lot of time and effort into it, get a bunch of certifications, use it in the marketplace, make some really good money. They start to notice it's depressing because their salary is a little bit harder to maintain. So they go learn the new and latest and greatest to bump their salary back up. And they're kind of on that. That can and does work. It is very exhausting. I know some people who have done that. And what eventually happens is time catches up. Wouldn't it be way better to choose a strategic set of skills that are timeless, that have been used from the beginning of time all the way up into now? I think the answer is yes, but some of you might disagree. I want to hear. If you have a dissenting view, please let me know below. If you agree, tell me what parts you agree with. I would really love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll know when I create a new video. Please also consider becoming a member at Motivationeer.com. Your membership really supports this channel. And don't forget, your career is not just a way to make a living, it's a way to transform the world.